What's up guys? My name's Will Harrison. I'm a 17-year-old photographer and hopefully after this, YouTuber. Today I'm going to show you guys a technique that I've been using a lot recently. It's how to make objects float in your image, like this. In this tutorial I'm going to teach you guys how to shoot, edit, and composite the image to make something like I did. I should mention though, I'm going to be using Photoshop Mix on my iPhone to composite the images. All you have to do is go to the App Store and download Photoshop Mix for free, and you guys can follow along in the tutorial and create your own result. I think it's going to be awesome. I hope you guys enjoy. But without further ado, without wasting any more time, let's get into the video. Oh, no, that's convenient. So, I suppose I should explain how I'm actually planning on doing this. The process is you're going to shoot two photos. One photo is going to be of your hand stuck out like this, and the second photo is going to be the lightsaber, which you toss in the air. And that is going to be composited together, the two photos. So what you're going to do is use Photoshop Mix to make it look like you have your perfectly positioned hand and the perfectly positioned lightsaber. This is going to take a lot of tries, especially with the tossing part. Shooting of your hand, that's easy. The tossing part's the hard part. You're going to have to go over and over and over again until you find a picture that you think looks really good, and then you can composite them together, then edit them all together in the very end. So let's get to shooting the individual photos. Let's go. So I'm actually gonna have to, wow, that's close. So I'm actually gonna have to transfer from my main camera to my iPhone because I don't have a second camera and I gotta shoot the photos on this. So let me do that real quick. All right, so we're now on the iPhone. Let me show you my setup here. I've got my camera here locked down on the tripod with the shot sort of set up. We'll do more of that in a second. I also have a packing blanket on the ground to keep my lightsaber from getting damaged if I accidentally drop it. I don't feel like doing that. Here's the lightsaber itself. Ooh, look at that. Galaxy's Edge, Disney World. That is where that's from. This is gonna take a few tries, but you're just gonna toss it up in the air, catch it, hopefully get a good looking shot on your camera. Let's get into it. So I found that a shutter speed of about 250 is plenty. It's plenty fast to get a sharp image of your lightsaber flying through the air. So that's what I have my camera set to. Now all you're gonna do is just hold down your camera, hold down your shutter button, and just try to get a good toss. Just get that angle just right. You have to look at your monitor, make sure it's in the right position. Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. So close. Almost got it. Okay, so I think I got it in one of those. Now all you have to do is switch your camera back into single photo shooting and just stick your hand out like this, and you're just gonna get a nice blurry depth of field shot of your hand, and that is your second plate. We're done with that part. All right, so that is the shooting process. Now we just have to go inside and composite. I'm gonna teach you how to do that. It's easy peasy. Let's go. Okay, so we're back inside now. Now all you have to do is get your photos onto your iPhone, and then you're gonna launch up Photoshop Mix. Now, step one is to just make sure that both layers are here. Make sure that your lightsaber layer is underneath your hand layer. So you can see that this is our lightsaber layer. You can hide the layers by double clicking them. You can see that the lightsaber is on the bottom. So now what we're gonna do is go in and click on our hand layer and go to cutout here at the bottom. Go to basic, eraser. Now under hardness, drag that all the way down to 0. Now we're gonna zoom in here and we're just gonna start painting out the image. Now you'll see that our other image starts coming in behind it. Now what we actually wanna do is go up to the top right and click this layer icon to hide the layer behind it so it's easier to work. Also, make your brush size a little bit bigger with this tool right here. Now we're just gonna go in, and what we're gonna try to do is get really close to our hand layer, cutting it out like this, and we're just gonna do that for the entire image. Go in, cut it out, zoom out, get all the area around it. Make sure that you're getting right up. Don't erase your hand though, get right up next to it though. And once you're happy with that, go down to the bottom right and click the check mark to say okay. Now you'll notice that the hand from our lightsaber image is actually poking through. This may not be the case for you, but it is for me. So what we're gonna do is go back into our cutout on our hand layer, and we're just going to turn the layers back on in the top right corner so that we can see, and go to the brush and go to the add brush. Now you're just gonna go and zoom up on your hand here and just erase every single part of it. Just erase it. So you're actually adding back the top layer to hide the image that's below it, which is our layer with the lightsaber. So just keep doing that all the way until it's completely gone. You can zoom out and get a big thing. Then once you're done, press the check mark And that is pretty much it for the Photoshop work. Now's the easy part. I'm gonna send this over to my computer and we're going to edit this. I'm gonna edit it in Lightroom. You don't have to edit in Lightroom. You can do it on your phone. You can use Snapseed or Visco or any other app that you would like. I'm just comfortable with Lightroom, so that's what I'm gonna do. So let's jump into that. Okay, so we're here in Lightroom, so I've got my image imported. So now what I'm gonna do to begin is first I'm gonna crop the image. So I'm gonna go in here to the crop tool, go to original, and for Instagram, the maximum amount of real estate that you can take up on the screen is a 4:5 aspect ratio. So that's what I'm gonna put it as. Move it up here a little bit and then press return when I feel like it's in a good position. So to begin the edit, I'm actually gonna use one of Peter McKinnon's presets from his Lightroom preset pack. It's from his V1, his fall 2018 pack. It's called Wolf's Wood. It's at the very bottom here. You don't have to use Peter McKinnon's. Again, I'm just using it because I really like it. I use them for everything. I love them so much. They're very near and dear to my heart. I love them a lot. We put this preset on here, so now we're gonna begin. So looking at this, I can see that I think the highlights are a little sharp, so I'm gonna pull them down just a little bit. And it might be actually a little overexposed, so I'm gonna pull down the exposure just a tad to about -0.3. I think that's a good spot to start. Now, I'm gonna go down here and I'm looking at the red here and the orange on this fence. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna desaturate those a little bit. They're a little harsh. So I'm gonna go to the HSL tabs and I'm gonna go to orange, desaturate that just a little bit. Same with the red, we're gonna go to the red and desaturate that just a little bit. Good, so it looks a little bit better in my opinion. Next, I'm gonna work on the vignette. So we're gonna scroll all the way down here to the bottom under effects and we're gonna go to amount and we're gonna turn that down. And that's actually going to add, if we over exaggerate, you can see what it's doing. We're gonna add about, let's do like a -40 about there. We're gonna take the midpoint, pull that down as well. It's gonna pull in the vignette in toward the center of the image. And then feather, I'm gonna turn that up to make it a little less harsh of an edge, of a shadow, if you will. Now highlights, this is a fun feature. If you turn this up, you can see in the sky, it's actually taking away the vignette where the highlights are at. I'm gonna put a little bit of this, but not too much. I think that's pretty good right there. We might have a little bit too much, so let me drag that. Let's do about a -30. Now again, you can't exactly copy these settings obviously because we're gonna have different images, but you can take this as inspiration and just learn some techniques that I'm using. So one of my favorite effects in Lightroom, if we scroll up here under, where is it? Oh yes, presets is texture. Now if we pull this up, you can see what it does. If we go to the max, you can see what it's doing there. Like I just use about 40. I think it's pretty good. Clarity, so this image already has a lot of clarity inside, so what I'm gonna do is actually pull it a little bit less. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to the tone curve and I'm gonna put a point right here on this cross, and then I'm gonna go to the shadows and just kind of pull them up a little, just to fade the shadows, just to give it a little more of a soft, dreamy feel, maybe like Star Wars, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Now we're gonna scroll down again and go under effects once again, and we're gonna go to grain. I feel like if we zoom in here into the blacks and the darker parts of the image, you can see what the grain is doing. If I turn it up here, you can see the effect that it's having. If we zoom out, you can see it gives it that vintage style, if you will. I'm gonna drag it down. That's too much, in my opinion. I think I found around anywhere from like 8 to 30 is pretty good, so we're gonna set it around 15. I think it was on 20 before. I think that's good. So little fun fact is that adding grain to your image is actually helping to sharpen it, which is weird because grain is technically lowering the resolution, if you will, but adding grain actually makes your image sharper. So just a little pro tip for you there. So this is looking pretty good so far. What I want to do actually is go up to this mask icon here. You can click on the little brush, and what I'm going to do is go down and click auto mask, and I'm feeling like this saber is a little bit dark, like it's not necessarily the focal point of the image. So what I'm going to do is click, and I'm going to just start to paint in this saber here. Just paint it in. You can go down here to show selected mask overlay, click that and it'll show you exactly what you've selected so far. And I'm just gonna paint in the entire saber just like this. So once you have that done, you can just go in and make sure that everything is nice and selected just like that. Now what I'm gonna do is just set all these values, these default values to 0. I don't need those. Go ahead and toggle show select mask overlay to turn it off. And now what I'm gonna do is pull up the shadows. You can see what it's doing here. It's just making it a little bit brighter. I'm gonna turn down the highlights because it's blending in with the sky a little too much. Take down the highlights, take down the whites. That looks pretty good in my opinion. Maybe bring up the shadows just a tad more. And what I'm gonna do is add some sharpness just to make sure that this is like really sharp. Not over sharpened, but just like definitely the focal point of the photo. So click done, press enter twice, you'll get back. And you know, if you ask me, I think that's pretty good. I think that we could probably just call it here think it looks great. If you press F, you can go into full screen. You can look at the entire image as it is. So yeah, I think that's about it. So that kind of concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna try to keep this YouTube stuff up. If I can, I'm gonna keep coming up with new video ideas. I'll let you guys know on my Instagram when I'm posting, when I upload a new video. I'll just keep trying to create content. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. See ya.